Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we are diving into a head-to-head comparison between the new Final Cut camera app for iOS and Samsung's camera app built-in Pro Video features. Samsung offered this functionality for a much longer time, so let's see what's Apple's answer to this. I will be using the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra to compare their features and scoring them to see which one is more capable, so without further ado, let's jump in. The scoring system is very simple. Each app will get the point for having the feature and half a point extra if it does it better. The first category we have is the zoom and lens switching. Both apps offer manual lens selection, so they take the point. Moving to the zoom, you get the option to zoom in and out while recording using all lenses on both. But there is one major difference. On Final Cut camera, you get the smooth zoom functionality. When you drag your finger over the slider, it gives you the cinematic zoom effect as if you are using a motorized slider with the ability to control the speed based on how far you push it. On the other hand, Samsung's Pro Video provides the traditional zoom slider, which gives you inconsistent and shaky zoom results no matter how steady is your hand. So 1.5 point to Final Cut versus only 1 to Samsung Pro Video. Next, we have white balance. Both apps allow you to adjust the white balance manually, but Samsung Pro Video has a wider range of 2300 to 10,000 versus 2900 to 10,000 on the iPhone. In contrast, Final Cut offers 6 different presets to choose from versus only 4 on Samsung's Pro Video. So I will call it a draw as each one has its own advantage with 1 point each. When it comes to ISO adjustments, Final Cut camera offers a range of 64 to 5000, higher than Samsung's 50 to 3200. This gives Final Cut camera the edge with half a point extra. Moving to shutter speed, the edge goes to Samsung this time with a wider range of 1/30 to 1/12,000 versus 1/30 to 1/8000 in Final Cut camera, earning it an extra half point. Exposure control is another critical feature. Both apps allow manual adjustments with high exposure indicators. On Final Cut, it highlights the overexposed parts in red, while on Samsung you get the same exposure histogram you see on most professional cameras. So far it's a draw, but the only difference here is Final Cut camera offers a wider exposure range of -2 to +6 versus only -2 to +2. So 1.5 point to Final Cut versus only 1 to Samsung Pro Video. Moving to focus, on both you get manual or auto mode and the peaking overlay to identify which parts are in focus. But Samsung Pro Video has the edge for supporting object tracking and a multi-point focus capability, giving it half a point extra. In terms of aspect ratio adjustments, Samsung Pro Video offers more flexibility with options for 16:9, 21:9, square, or full, while Final Cut camera does not. All you get is the ability to change the grid lines aspect ratio for guidance, but you have to edit the video to match your preference later, so 1 point only to Samsung. Next, we have the audio recording. On Final Cut camera, you can record using the phone's mic or an external wired or wireless microphone. On Samsung Pro Video, you get the same options as Final Cut, but it goes further with the directional audio options, like Omni, front, or back, in addition to the Bluetooth mix that records from the phone's and external microphone at the same time, so half a point extra to Samsung. Moving to the supported resolutions, frame rates, and video formats, these are dependent on which hardware you have, but as far as I'm using the flagship model offered by each company, I think it makes sense to compare both. Starting with the resolution, Samsung Pro Video on the S24 Ultra supports up to 8K, while Final Cut camera maxes out at 4K on the 15 Pro Max, which gives the extra half a point to Samsung. Looking at the frame rates in lower resolutions like HD and Full HD, Final Cut has the edge going from 24 all the way to 240 frames per second, while Samsung maxes out at 120. In contrast, the 4K resolution on Samsung gives you up to 120 frames per second versus only 60 on the iPhone, so I will call it a draw and give each one a point. Regarding video formats, on both you can record H.265 in SDR or HDR, while Final Cut camera supports ProRes 422HQ in S-Log format, which is a big plus for professional videographers, so it takes the extra half point. Now let's compare the convenient features you get in each app. In this category, each one will add half a point extra to the score instead of 1 full point for their less impact on the overall experience. Starting with Final Cut, you get the volume indicators, the ability to lock the camera orientation, it shows the time left for video recording based on the available storage, and the battery percentage. On the other hand, Samsung Pro Video offers volume indicators and briefly shows the aperture when you switch between lenses. So Final Cut camera has the edge with 2 extra points versus only 1 point to Samsung Pro Video. So far, both apps offer extensive manual controls with no difference in the overall score. But there is only one thing left to talk about, which is the multicam recording support. This is one of the Final Cut camera app features, and Samsung doesn't offer a similar functionality. I have to say that the multicam video recording is a killer feature that makes Final Cut camera app the way to go despite anything else. The feature allows you to wirelessly connect up to 4 camera angles using multiple iPhones and record multicam video right from your iPad. I don't have multiple iPhones and an M1 iPad to show you how it works, but I did watch Zolotech's video about the feature and I was really impressed. Imagine you are a content creator who wants to record from multiple angles at once. This feature will make your life much easier as you don't need to worry about syncing the audio and the video coming out of each camera in post, with the ability to instantly edit your videos on the iPad, which is a hassle-free experience. So here's my final conclusion. Both apps offer pretty much the same functionalities with minor differences here and there, but I think the overall win goes to Apple's Final Cut camera app, especially after adding the multicam video recording to the equation, which makes it a serious professional camera solution for your phone. Another feature that really stood out to me is the smooth zoom, which can make things even better. So that's pretty much it for today. That was my comparison between Apple's Final Cut camera app and Samsung's Pro Video. Please let me know in the comments what do you think. But for now, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.